Welcome in World Wrestling Vlog. Obviously, if you are here watching us, you are not a jabroni and you are not a Rudy Poo candy ass. So welcome in and thank you for being here with us. We got a special edition of the World Wrestling Vlog tonight. We are going to do Bad Wrestler Gimmick Rehab. So, it's kind of a special edition. All the guys have their assignments. And we're going to talk about some mid-carders or some undercard guys and what we would do to rehab their characters and make them a top guy. So, what would we do there? But to begin with, I just want to say go Dogs. I do like the Georgia Bulldogs. They are the number one team in the land, as if there was ever a doubt. So how about them Dogs, guys? How about them Dogs? But, this is not a football show, so I'll leave that alone. But just had to throw that in there. Had to throw it in there. Let's see who we've got in the chat. We've got Mr. Timmy Ray the King. Welcome in, sir. Good to have you. Good to see you. The greatest moderator of all time, Miss Meg and Meg's Fun Time. Welcome in.
Hello, Miss Meg.
We have our guest from last week. Yo, it's your boy Leo. Welcome in, friend. Good to have you. Glad you're here. Good to see you. Hope you're doing great. And that's it so far. But as more folks come in, we will definitely recognize you and say hi. Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you. We've got a lot of big stuff potentially coming up. So I have feelers out with Virginia Championship Wrestling right now, and they did respond to me today, and hopefully they have a big event coming up on December 3rd that they want to promote, and hopefully we will have Virginia Championship Wrestling online with us to promote their next event. There is the most beautiful ring valet of all time, Miss Chastity from Moonlight Adventures. She is my valet, although I did not get into the third circle. But I'm open for business if you need a manager or a commentator. Just putting that out there. You can speak to my advocate, Paul Heyman, at any moment, and he'll hook that up. You got a buzzing sound, Timmy Ray says. I know exactly what that is. That is probably my fan. Let me take care of that. There we go. Let me know if that cleared it up, because if it did not clear it up, I'm going to turn it back on because I run hot.
Oh, yeah. You're good.
But yeah, hopefully we'll have Virginia Championship Wrestling on. I've also reached out to a friend of mine from back when we lived in Tennessee, Mr. Thomas Latimer, who is an NWA active roster wrestler right now. He's a top guy. So if we can get Tommy Latimer on, that is going to be huge. So I hope that we can get him on. He has a very busy schedule, but we're going to shoot to get him on here. So stay tuned for some big stuff. Other things that have kind of happened in the world of wrestling since we were last on here, not a whole lot. AEW is falling apart. So they've pretty much lost CM Punk. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I was a promoter, more or less, of AEW until this week. Welcome in, House of X. Good to have you guys. Thank you for being here. And I was kind of high on their product, but I'll tell you what, between Pockets winning the All Atlantic Championship and then defending against a Japanese man, nothing wrong with Japanese wrestlers. However, since when is Japan in the Atlantic Ocean? And yeah, so hey, Tony, pull out a mount. And then on top of that, they brought back. So you have the choice to fix things with CM Punk and boot Colt Cabana, the Trampoline Cowboys, Mr. freaking finger bang himself, Kenny Olivier, and the Young Bucks, which the Young Bucks I think were kind of in the middle. And then the beginner of sorrows, the millennial whiny cowboy. You could have booted them and brought CM Punk back, but you choose to bring them all back and put Colt freaking Cabana in your main event. I'm this close to being done with AEW. I mean, I just cannot the garbage comedic wrestling is too much for me right now. So, what do you guys think?
It gets old for sure. And Colt Cabana is like really the best example of that. He's like watching somebody at the carnival wrestle.
You give me two serious segments and then three garbage comedic segments.
Yeah, I mean
You're
Yeah, pretty much.
they have some really good stuff that comes out.
I did like that Jeff Jarrett came back now. Hey, I'll give him that. I do like me some Jeff Jarrett. I don't like him as an in-ring performer, though, at this point. I'll just be honest with you. So, how do you guys feel about it? I mean, Dylan's already, but Billy.
Well, I like Colt Cabana because I've roughed him 3 times now. But I don't like him as a main eventer. I don't think. Definitely his mid card status, and there's a spot for comedic wrestling here and there, but not in the main events. I don't think.
Agreed. I mean, I'm not such an old fuddy-duddy with regard to how I view wrestling that you can't have a New Day, that you can't have a, best friends, which I hate the best friends, but and I think, I mean, Colt Cabana, he can be a good worker. And he's not beyond like some of the Dusty Rhodes comedic stuff. I mean, it's kind of the same kind of thing. I'm with you, Billy. It's just that it seems like Tony Khan wants to put the obviously fake bull crap over some serious professional wrestling. How you feel about that, Paul?
I pretty much just echo everything y'all said on that. I mean, wrestling's always had its humor. I mean, come on. Jim Cornette, for heaven's sakes, his promos were at least 75%. Even when he was serious, 75% of it was comical. He'd make you laugh even while he was being serious. But yeah, that's you've had your George the Animal Steel stuff like that. But yeah, that's going a bit far if you ask me. Especially as the state wrestling's in right now, or AEW is in.
I'll buy a Colt Cabana before I'll buy a Pocket. Orange Cassidy does not do it for me. He does not. He doesn't move the needle. I heard something the other day that when Orange Cassidy came out in his first title defense, there was something like 1.06 million watching. And from the point that he came out and defended his belt to the end of that match, they had went down to 800,000 viewers. 200,000 people left. Hey, what does it, Tony? What are you looking at? Well, he sells merch. Well, I don't give a crap. You got MJF sitting back there. You got FTR that you're not using. You got some serious dudes that he's going to lose it because Triple H, he's trying to run a serious promotion right now, and you're going to lose those guys. But
I had high hopes for AEW.
Maybe you just don't care.
I think AEW is kind of like WCW on its decline.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, at its best, it was Nitro when there was all kinds of NWO all over the place. At its worst, it's WCW at the end, and that's where we're at right now. But Tony Khan will probably never throw up a white flag because he has infinite bags of money, which is something that most people don't have. So
yeah.
Looking a lot like TNA to me, unfortunately.
I've seen better stuff on TNA, I mean, really. He needs to hire a booker stat, and he needs to hire someone that can manage his backstage talent because WWE is fixing to run away with this thing.
Well, that would be where your Jeff Jarrett comes in. You're always plug this guy in some way every week, seems like, but a Jim Cornette, a Dan Severn, Regal. They need some more control with stuff.
Yeah.
Delirious is the best booker in the business, and he's getting ready to debut on MLW because nobody is hiring. I don't know if you know who Delirious is, but he was the booker for Ring of Honor when Ring of Honor was hot. And there's a lot of Ring of Honor talent. One of the things I did like, they brought out the Kingdom with Matt Taven.
Mhm.
That is them at their best. I mean, Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis and Matt Taven, when they are presented as the Kingdom, that is when they are at their best. So I'm pretty excited to see where they go with that. He had a competitive match with Wardlow, which was good. But I don't know. Number one, they need to do something different with Ring of Honor and separate that out from AEW. And then, number two, they need to do a better job of booking. But anyway, I mean, it really hadn't been that exciting with regard to AEW. I watched a little bit of Crown Jewel. I don't know if anybody else watched anything going in. I won't give up too many spoilers because I know a lot of people are probably going to watch that later on because it came on at like noon today.
I actually followed that today, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, we were. So we work a lot. We do a lot of side hustles and stuff. So this was our day off for me and Chas, and so we didn't watch the Crown Jewel. I watched the first two matches. Without giving anything away, a little disappointed with match one, and then match two, which was the women. They were dressed up in mechanics gear to come out and wrestle their matches because our hypocritical Saudi Arabian friends who can't control themselves feel like that women have to be covered from head to toe. And that's not a statement of like, hey, I want to see skin. It's a statement of if a woman should be allowed to dress how she wants to dress. She has as much right to dress the way she wants to as a man in the ring wearing his underwear.
Well, everywhere else, I mean, hey, if a man can go topless on the beach, hey, so should women.
Yeah, I mean, it's a women's empowerment thing for me. I mean, whatever a woman.
I'm all for it.
I hate that we give in to the will of other countries and other people's beliefs. This is the WWE product. This is what we do. And you lose the benefit of folks like Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn's like, you know what? I know how these people are. I'm not going over there. And I don't blame him. Daniel Bryan wouldn't go over there either when he was wrestling with WWE. But hats off to the WWE for the people that say, you know what, I'm not going over there. They don't fire them. They allow them to.
No, sir. And the first one, he actually paid out a heck of a bonus to the women because the first Crown Jewels, the women were not allowed on. And he about had mutiny on his hands on that one. But, a little sugar on the paycheck kind of canceled all that out.
Yeah, I just I don't know, man. It's not an anti-Islamic or anti,
no, not at all.
Kind of thing.
It's who they are.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to invite, or if you want WWE to come over, you get the WWE product. If you don't like it, then the product doesn't. That's just how I would do it. But it's just me. Anyway, I'll let that go. But I didn't see anything.
I'll probably check it out later on today. Watch it.
It's good. It's good.
I am interested because one thing that if you're not like Paul and haven't watched it yet, and if you haven't been keeping up, Jake Paul is now going to be ringside with Logan. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But they did a nice build for that match, by the way. I mean, I don't know if you saw the
Jake Paul just beat
the last live.
He just beat Anderson Silva, in boxing match.
Well, and the build that they did, can't remember if it was. I think it was on SmackDown. Was the last episode, but with Jake Paul, Logan Paul knocking out one of the Usos, and then they did the pre-match build-up presser, and when they did that, they introduced that Jake would also be ringside, and they talked about the one punch. I'm one punch away, and that's a good build. I mean, and that's a positive sign for WWE for me. I mean, they're really doing well with their kayfabe storytelling. Billy,
speaking of SmackDown, that was in St. Louis, Missouri, and one of the backstage segments they had Bray Wyatt and he was talking to a producer, which is actually a referee that I know. So
wow.
he got his 5 minutes of fame on SmackDown. So that was pretty cool to see him on there.
That's cool.
You know, that's the other interesting storyline is they continue to throw out these little clues, and one of the clues prior to the ladies' match, and this is not giving away anything really, but they were doing a backstage promo with Alexa Bliss and the Japanese lady, Japanese girl, woman. That I can't remember her name. Do the hip attack thing all the time. It's actually a pretty good in ring person, but she has Asuka. That the moth flop, the upside down moth came up on the screen, so kind of a hint toward what we all think is going to happen, that she'll be part of the Wyatt Six. So I think could be good. I think that could be a good thing. I'm very interested to see what the Wyatt Six turns out to be. Also interested to see who Uncle Howdy is. So some people were thinking Uncle Howdy was going to be Malachi, and
I think it is.
Well, they did the promos. There was a promo on Dynamite this week that featured Malachi Black. So I don't think it's going to be Malachi Black.
Okay, well, maybe not though.
I've heard Bo
I think it's going to be Dirty Dutch.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all thinking too hard about who Uncle Howdy looks like. The person who is Uncle Howdy may not look like that at all. I mean, it's all this supernatural stuff, right? So
that's true.
Uncle Howdy could just be the face. Who knows who Uncle Howdy is? It could be Mick Foley. Mm-hmm. It could be Billy J. Yeah. It could be the voice that melts hot steel or warm steel, cold steel.
Oh, no.
And if you're signed to one of those big contracts, let's all go on a cruise, Paul.
We would definitely be there. Well, some of us would be.
Hey.
Yeah, so like 3 of us, and then not Billy J. Is that what you're saying?
What?
Yeah.
Who's going to captain?
Pretty much.
I'm just saying, Paul. Billy, I would take you. However, I would leave your butt on the shore if Paul invited me and didn't invite you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
We'd wave to you, Billy.
I'll wave to you with one finger.
We'd send you some footage for some vlog. All right, so let's get down to nut cutting, as you know, one Jim Ross would say, and let's go through what we came here to do. So our plan for tonight was wrestler, gimmick, rehab. So mid-card, undercard guys, and the boys sent me some messages today, and they're like, this is a little harder than I thought it was going to be. I probably took the low-hanging fruit of all. So I'll start, and maybe it'll give you some ideas as we go from here. So my guy was Baron Corbin. So he's been given his name back, so he is Baron Corbin again. But what would I do as his booker / agent to rehab his character? So I tell you, the first thing that I would do is I would put him on ice for about 3 to 4 months. Make him go away. And not just make him go away and just disappear, but give a reason. So, you know, recently they brought JBL out with him, and I don't think that helped. They've just done these dorky things with him when he actually had a good gimmick when he first came out. And the homeless thing to the happy Corbin, it's all just put him right in the middle of the card. But he has the size and the look and the athleticism to be a top guy. So first thing I would do is send his butt on his way for, I don't know, 120 days at a minimum. Then when I brought him back, I think I would bring him back with a mask and no voice. But you'd kind of have to do a Kane kind of thing with him because he has tattoos, so you'd know who he was. Maybe even a gold dust type thing with him. But, you know, he's a good in-ring worker. So I'd give him a whole new move set as well. maybe go back to that deep six as his finisher, and that's the only finisher he uses, and that's the only kind of calling card that he would have. I wouldn't put him, the obvious thing would be to probably put him with the Wyatt family, but I don't like him there. I think he's fine by himself if his gimmick's correct. So, number one, put him away for a little while, then bring him back. Don't let him speak. And maybe the reason you put him away is before you put him away, he does something nefarious that causes him to be suspended, but something that would gain him some appreciation from the fans. So maybe he tells off Stephanie. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking of a number of things here that could potentially work. Maybe he tells off the champion. Maybe he says something that he shouldn't say. Whatever it is, I'm thinking back to the days of Waldo. I can't remember his last name right now. Paul, you may be able to. Waldo,
Von Erich.
There you go, Waldo Von Erich. I was thinking of the Barons, and anyway, but yeah, I mean, maybe you not go that far because that would get you kicked off of national television, but say something like that. It's because number one, that would bring intrigue to the show, and then also that would kind of bring intrigue around the character. But I wouldn't leave him under the mask because he can cut a good promo when he's allowed to cut his own promo. And then I would also revamp his ring gear. I mean, what he wears right now is just, what is it? I mean, I'd let this guy go to a traditional ring attire. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen his legs. I don't know if he's got something going on with his legs that they want to keep him covered up. But I mean, he is a stacked dude. He's yoked, as the young people like to say. So show the body off.
He was an NFL lineman.
Yeah, I mean, NFL lineman, Golden Gloves guy. So let him show the body off, and let him talk minimum. Maybe you keep JBL as a mouthpiece because JBL is still a good promo. He did a great heel promo. But yeah, I mean, keep his talking to a minimum, around the same amount of talking you would allow Omos to do, and then let him be a beast. But just, he destroys everybody until he gets on a pay-per-view, but everybody he sees in regular tapings, he just destroys. And probably
I kind of like that whole new gimmick for Billy J as well. We put him under a hood and keep his talking to a minimum. And
no,
maybe
I disagree.
Make him the cabin boy, Billy J, instead of the captain. Yeah, I agree.
Nobody ever know.
Make him go scrub the poop decks for a little while.
No, that's below me.
That's jabroni talk, right?
Yep, that's Paul talk.
But I think so. Those are kind of my ideas for Baron von Corbin. I think he needs a manager, definitely. I don't know if JBL's the right guy. I think he needs an annoying little manager. I'd love to see him with someone like Prince Nana, or who is that dude from Ring of Honor that carried around the book? I wish I could remember his name. That's another one that I think would. But he needs an annoying little, like Jim Cornette type manager. Jimmy Hart type guy, to be his mouthpiece. But those are my thoughts. Billy, I'm trying to get you unmuted. Are you? There you go. All right.
I'm fine.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Baron von Corbin? Or actually, he started off as Baron von Corbin. Now he's just Baron Corbin.
I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
I agree with all that except his deep six move. I would make that a different move, but have a different finishing move instead. But I would use the deep six as part of his arsenal. But otherwise, I agree with everything he said on that.
Yeah. It's just something about that face. I don't know what it is, but when he was in NXT, he was over, and I was with it. And ever since he's came to the main roster, it just has not worked. I mean, other than maybe the first 4 weeks of him being on the main roster.
Yeah, he does have a lot of potential, though. I mean, he does have some really good in-ring work. I think they could do a lot with him, and they just never really have.
Yeah, I mean, there's not guys walking around that look like that. So do something with him, but don't turn him into Happy Corbin with a freaking
that stuff was stupid.
stooge. I mean, it just
Yeah.
with a garbage freaking. Oh, I had $35 in my pocket and I went to Vegas and I turned it into 100 and oh look, come on. He's either rich from the beginning, like that whole thing. Just come on, man, doesn't work.
Yeah.
I would rather. Hey, I'm a Golden Gloves guy. I went and I fought in the Bad Man competition. You know, something like that. Like turn him. What does Happy Corbin add to any storyline? It's not like, I mean, Ric Flair was, hey, styling, profiling, like that. People either loved or hated that. But the Happy Corbin, am I supposed to be happy for him? But wait, he's a heel. Like what the crap? So that's mine. And who wants to go next? You ready?
Paul said he did.
Paul's ready?
I'll go. That's fine. Yeah.
Right,
we're taking Bo Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to put him under a hood. And he's going to be a member of the Wyatt family. And because, I mean, the guy's technically sound as you'll find.
Yeah.
And I think they really ruined him with Bo Leave and all that mess from his NXT days. We're going to the main roster. They just ruined the guy. And we're going to put him under a mask, a hood, if you want to call it that. And he's going to be, because all great stables have that one technical genius, if you will, just super technical wrestler in it. And he's going to be the one for them. Keep dreaming, Billy. Keep dreaming. And we're going to make him a submission wrestler.
Yeah.
He's gonna we're gonna bring back originally it was called the Shannon O'Maki, then it became the $1 Million Dream. That's gonna be his finishing hold.
I like it.
That's all I got for him.
I've always been a Bo Dallas fan.
Oh, love his work.
I love the shooters, and him and Bray were both state champion wrestlers in the state of Florida. So they can both go.
Can I answer? I didn't hate his. I didn't hate his gimmick. It was.
I like Bo Leave better than the second gimmick they gave him. I actually like the around the ring. Bo Leave, you know.
Yeah.
My thing was that overshadowed his work, though. Was my problem with it.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to answer a question real quick for Timmy.
Yeah. I started that so we could bring it back up. I'll go ahead and bring it up. Go ahead.
I don't have a clue, but if I had to bet, I'd bet if he's still alive. I don't even know if Bill Watts is still alive. If Bill Watts is still alive, though, I'll guarantee you those belts from Mid-South, especially that huge, enormous North American championship, is sitting at his house in Jinx, Oklahoma, right outside of Tulsa.
Another place to check is Hogan's Beach shops. You would never be able to afford them, and you'd have to go put up with the guy that runs it. But
Bill Watts is still alive.
Reggie Parks will sell you one, make you one. He'll make you any belt ever made, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd like to get a real strap, not one that you buy at Walmart, but an actual strap. But they're not cheap.
No.
But yeah, I always liked Bo, and you know he was one of the next big things coming out of NXT back in the day. You know, prior to, let's see, who came out right? I think Roman came out right after him. Maybe it was before. I think Roman came out before, and then it was Bo. But they were pushing Bo hard. I think he's obviously signed back with the main roster. There you go, Paul. That belt is decent. That one's decent.
You need a spinner one.
Oh, Lord. My favorite belt is
Billy.
called the heavyweight championship belt. I like that one.
Yeah. I like that one too.
somebody from the marketing team designed those belts. This is what you need, Vince. This is what the kids think.
Mhm.
You know what I heard?
Yeah.
It's a true story. I heard it was all because a lot of indies were duplicating the belt. So that's
Yeah.
why Vince went to stuff like this.
I mean,
Yeah, I
and
believe it.
it's probably, I don't know though. AEW has some belts that look like they're probably pretty pricey. I could be wrong, but I feel like the WWE belt probably is the most expensive belt to be produced right now.
Well, and every new
Sure.
belt that comes out, they can sell merch. for
Yeah.
that, too, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, that AEW main title with the quad side plates,
It's beautiful.
but that's pretty doggone pricey. That is a beautiful title. It's kind of a
That
cross
one is.
between the. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I said that one reminds me of it's kind of like a conglomerate of a bunch of different old belts from the day. Like it's got a little bit of the $1 million belt in it. It's got the big gold in it. It's got Luthez's belt that he had, which was a real small one but very elegant belt. It's that's one thing that actually turned me on to AEW when I saw their belt. I'm like, hey man, maybe they got some old school stuff going on.
That one's rocking.
They do have some old school stuff, but they got a lot of new school bullcrap.
The tag belt and the ladies belt, the ladies championship belt, women's. All three of those belts are really nice with an old school feeling to them. And then TNA, before they changed the belt, back when they had the TNA Impact belt, the last one that AJ Styles held before he left, that was a beautiful belt. And then when they had the King of the Hill belt, that one was kind of cool too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think
I like the old 10 pounds of gold they started with.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I know I'm old.
Nothing special, but it has so much history behind it.
Yes, sir.
Nothing, and that's the thing. I mean, they've changed these belts so many times, and now you've got two belts. And I really,
but if you've never seen
USA and the Intercontinental, I hated that. The Intercontinental really is ugly. I hate it.
I like the old one, the white strap.
That was yeah. The old one was nice, very nice, and especially when the Miz had it, it just looked good with the Miz with that white strap.
Yeah, I like the white strap.
But one of those belts Timmy was talking about is probably one of the biggest championship belts of all time. That North American title in Mid-South. There's pictures of like Magnum TA holding it, and that belt is just enormous.
And
I don't know what it made, but it
number 2 held that a number of times, didn't he, Paul?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that he held the big one. I know he had the smaller one quite a few times.
But maybe one of the best in-ring workers ever. All right. Who is next? We've got is it Billy or Dylan that wants to go next?
I can go.
All right, Dylan. Hit it.
I chose the Guns, Billy Gunn's kids, Austin Colton Gunn. I think they're not used properly in AEW. I think they got a lot of potential as a tag team. I mean, they got some pretty good in-ring work, and they've got a lot of like charisma, I guess. I think could make them really, really good. But they've kind of just been bounced around from heel faction to heel faction, and they're just kind of like heel jobbers almost to this point, used to put over other tag teams. But I think they could also be over, and I think what would be interesting to see is if I think the same way you were talking about like Baron Corbin, they sent them away for a while, brought them back, and tried to push them as faces. Maybe not like super face, but kind of like DX, because I think they can be comical, especially with if they get Billy Gunn back, take him away from the Acclaim, stick him with them, and see what they can do. I mean, the feud they had going there with the Acclaimed for a minute was really good, and bring that back and see what they can do as faces, or at least I couldn't see them as like baby faces, but somewhere in the middle there, kind of
But
like
do
DX.
you agree, Dylan, that they cannot get over without their dad?
I don't think so. I think AEW has made them that way,
Yeah.
where the only time they're successful is when their dad is present. But I mean, all he does is really stand there. I mean, a lot of times they cut their own promos and stuff, and they, I mean, they're doing their own work. They might have Billy Gunn hop in there and knock somebody out real quick. But I think they're capable of getting over without him. But I mean, maybe they need him to help push to get them to that point. But I think they have a lot of potential. I think they could be really, really good. I mean, they got really good walkout music. They got some of my favorite walkout music in AEW. With the gun going off like Western sound. I think it's cool. I think they
Like the smoking guns.
could be something really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Smoking Guns #2. I mean that wouldn't be what I would call them, but I can't remember and Austin is one of them. I can't remember the other one's name, but the smaller of the two has the old Western actors tattoos on his arm sleeve. That's cool.
Yeah, he's got John Wayne and all that.
Tattoo.
I
Well,
think
there's one good way in
really
AEW. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Put them in a program with the FTR.
Yeah, do that. I mean, I think they could go. I think they could go with them, really.
In old time wrestling, you would program a team like that had a ton of potential with a veteran team, and you could tell one of the things you could always tell who was going to be the next person that they were going to try to put over in WWE is when John Cena was there, because if John Cena had a program,
yes, sir,
was going to be the next guy, because John Cena could walk a guy through a match, and I have learned to love John Cena and appreciate him. And Dylan, you'll kind of roll your eyes at this, but have you ever watched a match whether Cena goes over or Cena gets squashed where it was not a good match?
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, he knows he knows how to carry a match. The same with like Roman Reigns. It may not be the most exciting match, but on his end, but
sorry guys. LSU just took
Cena helped get Roman over.
Alabama's got 2 losses on the season. It is a good day to be a Georgia fan.
Down go Saban.
What you want to bet? What you want to bet? Monday morning, there's going to be people calling in to the radio shows in Tuscaloosa wanting Nick Saban's head on a silver platter because he lost 2 games. Every other coach in the country, if they only lost 2 games, would get a raise.
They're right in the field. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. I know this.
Gotta love it. You gotta love seeing Alabama lose.
But Cena helped get Roman over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
And Cena
Cena
came out and basically busted Roman down. Sorry. Yeah.
With the guns, though, I think since they do have potential, and I think the AEW fan base knows that the guns can wrestle, and they know that they have potential. But I mean, they're heels, so they come out and they get booed and whatever. But everybody recognizes that they can wrestle and that they are a good tag team. So they just use them as a team to put other people over, put other teams over instead of pushing them.
I think it wasn't on the drive-through. It was on the Jim Cornette Experience. Well, actually, it was on the Experience, and then they carried it over into the drive-through. But they went through the AEW roster, and they talked about keeps. And then guys that they would keep and that they would teach, and then guys that they would just kick out, and the guns is one of the keeps. And then they also talked about, Pillman Jr., which is another one, and
that was the other guy that I was going to do him as my mid card guy that I was going to choose.
Out of all the young talent that they have that wasn't quite able to get over, those are the people that they could still get over if they would focus on.
Well, see, I was going to do Brian Pillman Jr., but I feel like his is probably the easiest one. Get him out of that stupid tag team. Yeah. It's that simple. Get him out of that stupid tag team and let him work by himself.
Timmy Ray's got another question, and nice looking strap there, by the way. Charles told me to ask another question. What happened to all the WCW belts? Did Vince keep them, or did Ted Turner keep them? I think Vince
got everything. Vince got everything. Yeah. And Vince like I said, got WCW basically for a song. When you figure in the fact that he got the library, that's all he wanted anyway. Really, maybe 3 or 4 wrestlers. He got the WCW library, and yeah, he got all the belts because they came over with him. Of course, he retired some of them. Wish they'd have kept that United States title though. That was a good looking. That's a good looking belt. Better than what they're using now. But
I think Hogan was able to keep the NWO World Championship belt that they spray painted. I think that's the only one that got away from him.
Yeah.
They have, but you know, a lot of wrestlers have replicas.
Yeah, that's true. That's what you should do to that belt you have, Paul. You should spray NWO on it.
Or Billy J.
That's what we need to do, Billy. We need to go down there and go to Paul's house and steal the belt.
BWO.
We'll take a tank.
Billy World Order. Hey,
the BWO, that was a cool faction now. I like the Blue World Order. The Blue Meanie, he was the man. All right, Billy.
Because JBL busted him up.
So Dylan picked the tag team, so I'm picking the tag team. I like the New Day as a tag team, but it's time for them to separate. So I don't know how much longer Kofi's going to go. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I would like to see him get one more run in the main event. So I'd like to see them separate, and I'd like to see Kofi either as a heel or face. I don't know. He's a good face. I'd like to see him as a heel, though.
I don't know that I've ever seen him as a heel. Have you?
Yeah, I don't
think so.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
So I would like to see that, and then Xavier Woods, face or heel, go the opposite direction of where Kofi's going if he's face or heel. But I'd like to see Kofi get one more shot at the top because he was at the top for a little bit. And then I'd like to see Xavier Woods get a shot too as well. So I'd like to see them separate because it's time for New Day to move on. Big E moved on, and so now I'm ready to see them move on. So that's what I would do.
Back when he was Big E Langston, we actually were there in Nashville at Raw when he won the Intercontinental Championship. Who did he beat? He beat Henning's son.
Joe.
Oh.
I can't remember his name.
Axel.
Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel.
And they were still calling him Big E Langston, and he dropped the straps down. And the only thing I kind of enjoyed the New Day, and I agree it's kind of ran its course now. It was kind of a alter universe, bizarro world DX in a way. But one of the things that always bothered me, though, was that Big E did not need to be in a faction. He could stand alone.
Nope.
He had the personality. He had the in-ring work. And I agree with you. Out of all three of those guys, I'd like to see him stand alone. And then Kofi's body of work speaks for itself. But if you go into Impact's chronicles and libraries and whatever you want to call it, you go back to the heyday of TNA, dadgummit, lost his name. I'm thinking Apollo Creed because that's who he was in TNA, and now I can't. Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he worked as Apollo. What was it, Paul? Do you remember? It was Creed. Justice Creed.
Apollo. I know it's Apollo Crews.
No. This was. Let me look it up. So I just can't. He wore the same stuff that Apollo Creed wore, but he did great work back in TNA, right towards the end of the good TNA stuff. Give me just a second.
Consequences Creed.
That's right, Consequence Creed. Yep. And a lot of what he does in WWE, as far as his moveset, is related to what he did as Consequences Creed, and he dressed up in the Apollo Creed gimmick. But yeah, I mean, all three of those guys can go as singles if you give them the opportunity.
I mean, the New Day's they've been going.
Big E reminds me a lot of Curtis Hughes.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of y'all remember him or not. Big cat Curtis Hughes.
Yep. He reminds me a lot of the Natural Disasters. I mean, he's in better shape than them, but those guys were legitimate shooters too.
Well, I think he could
Jimmy,
slide Big E into the Brock and Bobby Lashley thing. I think he could hold his own with them two.
if he's not
I
a
think so,
comedy
too.
wrestler,
Yeah.
he can. If you make him a serious guy,
Exactly.
and you could have. And I'm going to try not to sound racist here as a white man saying this, but you can do another Nation of Domination thing that could go against the bloodline with, MVP as the manager, and then you bring in Big E, Bobby Lashley, almost. I mean, and it could actually be more over than the Nation of Domination was. And then, oh, by the way, you already have this stooge that's doing excellent work in Sami Zayn. So now when this new Nation of Domination starts getting over, what does Sami Zayn do? He does exactly what Owen Hart does, and he goes to the Nation.
Yeah.
Would that not be awesome? I mean, I think that would get over.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways they could go with that. But I'm with you, Billy. I like all three of those guys, but I think they're all holding each other back in that gimmick. And they've probably just hit a soft spot, a comfortable spot for them. And it's like, hey, they're not going to get rid of us because we're still somewhat over. And we're not having to work too hard because we're not terribly over. So
that's why they're mid-carders.
Getting paid,
Billy just wants to get a discount on some bootios. He wants, he wants to win a sweepstakes for you. Lifetime supply of bootios.
The more booty, the better.
I agree, Timmy. That run that WCW had before they put too many people in the NWO was like nothing we'll ever see before. I just
Billy, weren't you in the NWO?
I'm in the RWO.
NWO Iowa. Oh, okay.
Were you Wolfpack?
Wolfpack, yes. Wolfpack, yeah.
Sweet. There it is. I was in the Latino World Order. And to be honest, I would have been more of a mark for the Latino World Order because of the wrestlers who were in it.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the guys that I liked in WCW. I mean, I loved the whole NWO storyline, but when the guys from the Latino World Order, I was a huge mark for Conan, Juventud Guerrero, all those guys. When they came out, I was like, all right, this show's about to go to 100. I love Lucha. I really do. I mean, if one thing me and Jim Cornette would not get along about is I love Lucha Libre because, yes, they do the trampoline stuff, but at least they tell a story and they wrestle with it. It's not like
they can make it a little bit more believable too than standing there looking behind them. Everybody's still standing, waiting on me to jump on them.
It
like
looks
it's more
like
fluid
style. And this is how.
Yeah.
It's not fun to referee.
Well, it sound like a broken record, but
I wouldn't think so.
The cruiserweights are what got me hooked on Nitro.
Yeah.
When it first came on, they were carrying the show to my, Benoit, Malenko, Jericho, Guerrero.
Malenko, Benoit, Ray, like some of those matches, man.
Yes, sir.
Hoovy. Juventud. That was my dude, man. I loved Juventud. The Juice. Yeah, those were some good days. They could happen again, but unfortunately, I think what we're about to see is, and again, I don't think that AEW will just go away. I think that Tony will just find somewhere else that will put his stuff on TV. But they could go the way of Impact very quick. I mean, right now they're hovering around 1 million, and there's so they're still a legitimate threat to WWE because WWE's not doing the numbers either. I mean, they are in no way, shape, or form doing the numbers they did when we were all watching it back in the day.
No, sir.
But the only way they can get those. I think I said this last week, and one of the things that's really frustrating, guys like us, we're going to watch wrestling just because we're going to watch wrestling. We're going to watch it for the good and the bad because we've always watched it. What they've lost, back when they were doing 6-7 million a night watching the shows, was the fans that would click through on their remotes and go, "Hey, there's wrestling. Wow, look at that guy. Oh, this looks," and they wouldn't go to work and say that they watched wrestling last night, but they watched it. Those kind of folks, because they were telling stories that you get interested in, and they've lost that.
Thank you.
Now, it's just there are the stories they do tell and get into are good, and you can tell which ones those are. If you watch the WWE Evil with Roman Reigns, this whole thing he's doing right now is something he pitched to WWE Creative and said, "Let me do this, and it will get over." And that's always been, Jeff Jarrett, the sign he had over his desk. Personal issues, sell tickets. So, it don't have to be a real personal issue, but at least make it seem like it is one. And that's what's going on. I mean, right now, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn are keeping that bloodline thing going. And it's great. It's beautiful to watch. Sami's doing some of the best work he's ever done. I'm not seeing any of that kind of storytelling in AEW right now. I've seen a little bit of it in some of the other mid-card guys in WWE. The women's division, other than Damage Control, is kind of just flailing around right now until Charlotte and Becky gets back in WWE. Somebody's going to have to, one of these promoters is going to have to go after all the best ladies talent. If women's wrestling is going to get back to a good state, they're going to have to put in a concerted effort to go after the best talent. Because half of the best talent is in AEW and the other half is in WWE. Jamie Hayter is fantastic. Britt Baker, fantastic. They let Tony Storm go. I'd be just fine if I ever saw Ruby Riott or Ruby Soho ever again. I was never impressed with her.
Yeah.
I think WWE got it right.
Who's all right?
Live around because she is probably the best worker out of all those.
For a little while there, the best female wrestler in the world, at least in ring, was in NWA.
Which one?
I just lost her name, but she was the champion. She hangs out in Mexico a lot.
Oh, you talking about Thunder Rosa?
Yes. Yeah, I
so
like her.
They ran her off out of AEW too. NWA has another good female right now. It's Thomas Latimer's wife.
It's like you said about Impact and AEW. Every time one of them come up and start doing good, and we're like, okay, they probably can't overtake the WWE because nobody can. Let's go and say that. But they're like, okay, this is a legitimate alternative. It falls apart. I don't know why.
AEW could have done it if Tony would have hired somebody else. I mean, imagine as Jim Cornette's talked about this, and he said, who knows if this is 100% true. I don't doubt that it was true, but Tony called Jim and said, "Hey, I'd like for you to come be my booker. However, Tony was like, I have the executive authority over all of it, so I can veto everything." And Jim's like, "No, if I'm the booker, I'm the booker. Period."
There you go.
After the show, if you want to critique me and talk about it, that's fine. But I'm the booker, I'm the agent. And they could never get over that. And I guess through the early stages of AEW, they kept in contact. And one of the things that Jim told him is like, he said, you start listening to these other entities, they all want jobs from you because you're a money mark for them. Yep. But me, I'm always going to tell you the truth because I don't want a job. And I think he's stopped listening to Cornette because a lot of the marks that follow AEW right now, they're so anti Jim Cornette.
You can bring in Jim Cornette, Kevin Sullivan, William Regal, and Jeff Jarrett. Them four could put AEW on the right path. Totally behind the scenes.
He won't give the booking up, though. That's the problem. And he ran off Ace Steel, which is one of the best guys backstage we have right now. And if he would have played his cards right with Punk, there's no doubt that Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Hangman Page, those guys have the ability to be great if they had a little bit of good coaching and good training from somebody like a Jeff Jarrett, for instance, or you name it. But or CM Punk, if he could have kept Punk around. And Punk said one of the key things you listened to in that interview where he went off is, my locker, my desk, my office, my phone has always been open to these guys, and they've never called me once. And then there are certain guys that have. And you can talk about Punk's in-ring all you want to. I think there's two sides to that. I think part of Punk's problem was he was working with guys who were never legitimately trained for a lot of this stuff. And then you also have his age. But he also played that into the stories. But you listen to FTR and Wardlow. Several of these guys did get underneath the learning tree of CM Punk. And those guys are putting on some good stuff. The Acclaimed, they talked to him. The Guns. A lot of these guys were around that learning tree of CM Punk. And, yeah, he rubs people the wrong way. But one thing he's never done has been, at least from what I've seen, has held his tongue when he believes he's telling the truth. So take that for what it's worth. But he's made enough money that he has what some people call FU money. So he doesn't care. He's going to say his piece.
Yeah.
We'll see. If he wins this dispute over the non-disclosure agreement, we may see him on WWE TV in WrestleMania very soon against Roman Reigns. That would be a huge draw. So Paul, do you know anything about this? So Timmy Ray is talking about there was a CD made from WCW called WCW Mayhem, the music on CD.
I don't know nothing about that. There was a video game called Mayhem, I think, but there probably was. I know Eric Bischoff got into a licensing issue with some WCW music.
Yeah. He had another comment here where he's talking about the girls. I think what he means here, he's talking about the
Nitro girls,
the female wrestling.
Oh,
I mean, Medusa, and I mean there were some good female wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't. So Timmy, I love you, but I don't know if the Nitro girls actually brought anything to the table, other than what they were sent out there for.
They brought assets to the table.
yeah, it's kind of like the Davis. Look, no offense, I hate to sound like a prude. The first part's going to sound like a prude. When I tune in to see wrestling, I want to watch wrestling. Now, to prove I'm not a prude, when I want to see T and A, I know where to go with a stack full of ones to see T and A. Just say, yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing where everybody's always trying to keep up with what WWE's doing, I think. And, at the time, WWE had the lingerie models that John Laurinaitis was bringing on, and that was back in the Keebler. And who was your favorite, Dylan? You remember?
I do remember.
Kelly, that was yours.
Dylan like me some Kelly.
Which was really not the greatest days in the world for wrestling, to be honest.
And well, you know what got me into it? So they got fans off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they got the right fans. That's the problem.
No.
Yeah. And another thing WWE I think is messing up on right now is they're focused way too hard on getting the preteen teenager crowd. So they're looking at these. They're looking at the numbers, and would anything in Memphis wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling, those were all some of the best stories ever told. And none of that
That's
was
where Jeff
suited.
Jarrett gets that from.
None of that was suited for anybody under the age of 15. So why in the world is WWE trying to be anything below rated PG-13?
I know why. They want to sell video games. Kids are going to play video games, so they want to sell those wrestling games. So that's probably why they're targeting them. Plus the merchandise. All about merchandise.
I heard a thing today that 75%, because you brought up, Mr. Josh, about WWE not doing the numbers anymore, that 75% of WWE's tangible income comes from licensing. And that's what hurt WCW.
Yeah.
They were owned by the TV network. The only money they made off TV was commercials. Vince has a TV company, channel, whatever you want to call it, paying him money, a licensing fee for his product.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Peacock thing's all about.
Money, that's,
I did a paper on, and I wish I could just pull it out of the top of my head, but I did a paper on the billions with a B that were paid from Peacock to WWE to be able to carry their stuff. And, I hate it because WWE Network was great.
Yeah.
I was
loved
happy.
it. $9.99.
Yeah. Couldn't get
Loved
any
it.
better. But
Nope.
Hey, Dylan's got a jet, guys. Hey, thanks for being here, Dylan. We love you, buddy.
Yeah.
Keep your head down, your powder
Thank you,
down.
Sarge. Be safe, man.
Yep. I'll see y'all later.
Thanks for keeping Kim Jong what's his face in check for us over, buddy.
Yeah, he's getting. Yeah.
Big for riches right now.
Go tell him who you are.
Yeah. All right. I'll see y'all later.
See you, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was billions and billions of dollars just to carry WWE Network, and it is a business, and that's one of the things that Vince shot for. But if Billy Corgan, and I don't know if he's still the promoter for NWA, whoever the promoter of NWA wrestling is right now, if they had,
he's the owner.
If they had Tony Khan's money to run that thing,
oh god,
with their booking, I mean, they put out a good product. They just don't have
real good
anywhere broadcast nationally. That their wrestling product in the ring and their programs are better than what's being shown on AEW by far, in my opinion. Now they don't have not all of the wrestlers that they have are as visually appealing to a national audience. But again, if NWA had all the wrestlers from AEW and they programmed the way that NWA programs with Tony Khan's money, that could be a doggone good product.
Yes, sir.
And
I'd like to see the NWA champions start touring again. That would be nice.
Yeah, but you know what Tony Khan would do with it, though? He'd just take all the NWA belts. He would have ROH, AEW, and NWA, and then there would be 15,000 belts. When what really needs to happen is replace everything that's in AEW with NWA and legitimize it.
Well, NWA just brought out some old school United States tag team titles.
It would be cool
school looking.
If at a minimum Tony Khan would open the forbidden door to NWA. I mean, he's done it a little bit. I mean, Serena Deeb's transferred over. There's been a few that have come over from NWA, and he's not opposed to it. But a more open, like, hey, these are NWA people coming over here, I think that would be to me, that would be cooler than the New Japan stuff that they do. Because New Japan is as modern as anything we watch nowadays. Did you catch the Orange Cassidy? The Orange Cassidy. I can't say this guy's name. Hang on, let me look it up now. Shibata.
I tell you, I don't watch anything with him in it.
Yeah, I was disappointed because Shibata is great, but
Yes, sir.
Orange Cassidy brought him way down. It was
It's
just,
only he could do.
Yeah, I just they did the phony stuff, which I liked that Shibata didn't buy into it 100%. So when he would do his pocket stuff, Shibata would capitalize on it, which I like seeing. But they made it. When you put Orange Cassidy over against a guy like Shibata, it's obviously phony.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I'd rather see Danhausen than Orange Cassidy. I would. I mean, Danhausen is actually entertaining. I just don't get it. I mean, a dude with his freaking pockets. Did he ever come around up there where you guys are at, Billy J?
Nope, I never ran into him.
You can't do that bull crap in Iowa.
Nope.
I mean,
not with the Wrestling Hall of Fame there. No.
Nope.
No.
And you mentioned Delirious earlier. Delirious is the Midwest wrestler, and I did referee one of his matches. So
Delirious is awesome. That's really the only hope for AEW right now. I mean, we'll see what Jarrett does, but it looks like Jarrett wants to wrestle. I don't know if he's going to do much booking.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, he's. It looks like, and I don't know how much wrestling he'll do, but he's definitely trying to put a stable together at least.
As long as he stays out of the ring, cool with it.
Yeah. What you got here, Timmy Ray? He says, I got a question about Halloween Havoc.
Huh?
Sounds like he's asking that it belonged to WCW, but somehow WWE was able to run. Oh, okay. There you go. How is it that Halloween Havoc gets NXT? I'm sure that they paid some money to TBS to get that, which that's probably smart on WWE's part because that's a good gimmick. I like Halloween Havoc. And
how they wound up with it, NXT got it because when WWE bought out WCW, they got the whole store. Same way they got what was the what was that? War Games. NXT did War Games, which was WCW and Dusty Rhodes' baby.
That's a great gimmick match. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't Great American Bash? Wasn't that WCW too?
Yep.
That was Dusty Rhodes' brainchild, Starrcade.
But Starrcade did Crockett own Starrcade and kind of allowed WCW because I'm surprised that NXT has never tried to do any kind of Starrcade stuff, and then they have the WrestleCade events that they do now.
Crockett's still in business.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Ted Turner didn't totally buy him out. JCP, Jim Crockett Promotions, is still a viable entity, and they still do promotions on the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic area. So, like you said, I guess it'd be a licensing thing. I mean, it's not like JCP's going to use it, so why not make some money off of it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, he's bankrolled a whole lot of things. I think he bankrolled that whole that promotion that Jarrett was doing there for a while. I can't remember, the Global Championship or Global Force.
Yeah, Global Force. I never saw nothing out of that.
We got to see them in Clarksville, Tennessee. They had some decent wrestlers and a few guys that are. So Camille, she's the ladies champion in NWA right now. She was a Global Force person.
Okay.
Serena Reeve was going around with them. Crimson. There were a few decent guys that they had. Actually,
Well, they
the
were
guy
tied into TNA for a little bit, or Impact
Yep.
for a month or two.
and
Yeah,
whoever
Global
that guy
Force.
was that could never win a
Right.
match, what was his name? It was in WWE. He was a Global Force guy. The red-haired dude.
Barry Horowitz. I'm sorry,
No,
that's
no,
way old.
this was in the 2010s.
No.
But anyway, that's how much of an impact he made. Little pun there. But, all right, hey, so what else y'all want to talk about? Are we out of things?
Well, if I'd have bought a lottery ticket and won tonight, but if nobody wins it this time, I may scrape up some pennies and I'll go buy a lottery ticket. And if I do win, I'm gonna set the wrestling world right. I'm just saying.
Hey,
I'm gonna have a 4-man booking team.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say, if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much. We do get a lot of replay watches because we do start kind of late, and that was kind of by design, so everybody could have their Saturdays and do their thing, and we didn't interrupt any of the other great vloggers that we're in a community with. But if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much for watching. And we have some exciting stuff coming up. I hope to have Thomas Latimer on. And again, Virginia Championship Wrestling. I mean, they've had some big names in the past. They've had Gangrel. They've had Jay Lethal, to name a few that have came through there. So they have said that they're going to find out who fits best for our channel to come on and promote their December 3rd promotion. They're also going to send some promotional material. So we should have another wrestling wrestler. I started to say wrestling character. Man, I've been watching too much WWE. A wrestler on from Virginia Championship Wrestling. Could be the promoter. I reached out to try and get the promoter, but I think he's going to be too busy.
I got to get back in touch with the promoter for you. He's doing Bayou independent wrestling in doing Monroe and Brookhaven, Mississippi, Vicksburg. Real small, but really trying to put out a quality product. And one of Billy's buddies, one of my favorite referees of all time, I got to get back in touch with him, get him to come on. Mr. Frank Beard. Not Frank Beard, that's ZZ Top. James Beard. Hey, I was in the right state, Billy.
And Timmy Ray's getting ready to jump off, but we're going to have Timmy Ray on here one night too. I just got to coordinate a little better, but we'll definitely get Timmy Ray on. He has a wealth of wrestling knowledge, and he's welcome to bring his father on too, because his father has a lot of good things to talk about.
I might sit down with his dad one day.
This channel is not designed. I mean, if it takes off, it takes off. But this is really just a place for wrestling nerds to gather and talk and have fun and enjoy each other, and to make fun of Billy J. But
yep, maybe we can get Jim Cornette on sometime. I think Jim would love a conversation like this, just laid back, people just sitting back, shooting the bull. You know, Jim would talk wrestling with anybody.
We need to cut a promo on him. I don't think you could get Jim Cornette without throwing money at him. That's the problem.
Bet you could. Just for this late at night. Yeah. Just to come talk wrestling.
Better win the lottery, Paul.
We cut a promo on him.
Hey, let me tell you something though, Billy. You noticed something though. When I said I win the lottery and I start a wrestling promotion, did I say anything about running it? No, I did not.
Billy
will be the check man.
Well, Paul, if you were running it, you'd be the drizzling. Oh, that's it.
No, Billy. You say I'm trying to be serious here. You know that's fine, Billy. No, I'm saying if I had that kind of money to burn, no, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna have the checkbook, and I'm gonna have me some Jim Cornette, Kevin Sullivan, William Regal, and I'm gonna bring in Dan the Beast Severn. People like that have worked the different areas, and say, hey, here's the checkbook. Y'all go run this. Sign who needs signing. Write what needs writing. You know. I give us some real wrestling.
I think they need to bring the territories back.
Oh gosh, that was beautiful.
If you could win the lottery jackpot that's out there right now, you could build the territories back. And
yes, sir.
You could put several different organizations in several different territories out there and buy out NWA and have that belt travel.
I love that.
It'd be beautiful.
That was the stuff.
Yep, it would be beautiful.
And Billy, I'll hire you as a referee.
No, don't book me, Paul. Don't book me.
Billy, I'm going to give you the solo layout and cut a promo on all these people about what you got coming up.
Well, I should always have the solo layout because I'm the captain. But I just put out a vlog today. It was my Disney Springs, the Polite Pig restaurant. If you get a chance to go there, go there. Good food, good barbecue, better than that Carolina barbecue. Otherwise, that'll be one of my last vlogs. I have enough material for maybe one more vlog on the Pensacola Fair that I went to. Other than that, I'm done. I'm not doing live shows. I won't have any content for a while, so I'll be on here and on other live shows every once in a while, but you'll see less of the captain, which is, I'm sure some of you will appreciate that. But
woohoo!
But anyways, that's all I got, and yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you as always coming on, Billy, and no matter what Paul says about you, we love you.
I love him. I love Billy. Billy's like the little brother I never had and never wanted.
All right, Paul, what you got coming up, brother?
All right. Hopefully tomorrow evening, I have a very special guest, but they're very busy people. So hopefully I'm going to have a very special guest for a new episode of the Booze News coming up tomorrow night at 6:45. If not, I'll throw something together tomorrow and wing it out until next week. And next week on the Raid Parade, we're going to have a little bit of the Southern Culinary Gospel. Little Sunday cooking for the family. And that's about it. And Miss Meg, if I win the lottery, no, it's not take Miss Meg on a cruise. I will buy you a cruise ship. Okay? Just saying. But if I win the lottery, we're going to Germany and touring it by train. I got bigger plans than you. Trust me. Just saying.
Attaboy, Paul. Attaboy. She's going to tell you got to put a ring on it, though. That's what she's going to tell you.
First chance I get.
All right, I'm going to take it. So, hey, once again, thank you, everyone, for coming in and putting up with and listening to us. If you're watching this on the replay, we really appreciate you. Got big things coming up. We're going to start putting out some more, just video content to try and build this a little bit more because people need to hear what we have to say, because of everyone in the wrestling business other than James E. Cornette, we're the smartest ones. I mean, I'm just going to say, we got it figured out. But anyway, our primary channel for us is the Moonlight Adventures, and you can see the link there. And we would love to have you guys over on our live stream on Sundays at 8 o'clock, Shooting a Breeze with Moonlight Adventures. We also try to put out shorts and vlogs every week. Once a month, we do the Creator Showcase, which is a fun time where we try to bring folks in and grow the community. And John Bourbon, he comes in, and right now he's doing it once a week. We may have to cut down and do it every other week or something like that. My travel has just gotten so much, and to try and open the studio for him and edit his material, we may have to cut that down to every other week or every 3 weeks, at least for a little bit, but we'll see. But anyway, he usually he usually drops his vlog with the Creator News every Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then, of course, this comes on every Saturday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully we are going to have some big things coming here soon. But we appreciate you guys so much for coming in here. Please come back, like and subscribe, and check us out, guys. And you know what? Go Georgia Bulldogs. We out.